was a long time ago. Can't even remember when it was. We were all in a room together. So the coronavirus has changed a lot about what we do and how we do it. I don't imagine that we will be using our waiting room anytime in the near future. Probably not until we have a vaccine, and probably not until that vaccine is approved for children, which will be even longer than it takes for adults. Because they'll use it on us old people first before they use it on kids, so it'll be a while. So, having said that, a lot has changed in the office, right? So we don't get together in the lunchroom as often, and we don't hang out as often. We don't go to our Rosie's nights anymore, which I miss desperately. I would love for us all to go out and have some chips and salsa and a margarita for those of you that are old enough. You're not old enough. And there's somebody else that's not old enough.
Because I'm old enough.
James old enough.
I'm not old
Cheyenne's probably.
Is Jay stay out or Zydeco?
What do you say?
Stay out of Zydeco. Stay out of these bars.
That's all right, that's all right.
Okay.
So, and since we switched over to PCC, things have changed, so it's been, what, a year and a half? No. January.
So, yeah.
8 months. Dang! Feels like a
We've
life.
lived here a year and a half. How about that?
That's right, we've lived here a year and a half, PCC's been 8 months, COVID's been 5 months, 6 months, whatever. So a lot has happened in the past 18 months. Okay, back on track. So like I said, I don't think we'll be using our lobby anytime soon. So we have had to adapt and change and move on from having a lot of face-to-face interactions. More of our parents, if you have not noticed, are using the patient portal, which is absolutely amazing. It does not tie up the phone lines like it used to. We still have a lot of phone calls, but more parents are using the portal, which is a great thing, right? No phone calls. And it just helps. It just speeds up the process to have those portal messages. We are changing how we are confirming appointments as well. We used to be able to send a real quick text reminder, hey, you've got an appointment tomorrow at 9:30 with Dr. Ellis. Bring your insurance card, sign your HIPAA form, we're done. We can't do that anymore because we have to say, stay in your car, put a mask on, and the nurse will call you when they have a room available. And we only have 140 characters in those text messages. So we were calling. It takes one person all day to do 3 doctors, basically, so that's a time suck for everybody. We've decided we're gonna try to use the portal for that. Yay. And that way we can attach all the documents that need to be completed prior to them arriving, their HIPAA forms, the non-covered services form, upload a current picture of your insurance card, so on and so forth. So, Teresa's on that. She's sort of the leader. She's figuring out all the kinks on that. So we are sending appointment reminders via the portal when we have an email address. So now more than ever, it's more important to get people registered on the portal. Keeping in mind that anyone that's 14 and over has to have their own account, right? Because of HIPAA. And having said all that, the check-in process takes a little bit longer now, right? Because we're checking in from the car, you're trying to listen, they've got you on speakerphone, their 3-year-old screaming in the background. And like the call I had last week, Mom was on a conference call with her employer on speakerphone while I'm talking to Dad, and the kid is screaming in the car. And I said, somebody has to step out of the car and talk to me. I said it. Because I could not, hey, Dr. Clem, come on in if you're not afraid.
Oh, fine.
Dr. Pat's left. We're going to call him Big Chicken. So, you know, that comes with its own issues, right? So, we have come up with a plan for confirming appointments and check-in. And here it is. It's all spelled out here. I don't know if I need to go through it. All of you that know what you're supposed to be doing should know how to do this. There are some of you sitting in this room that still need to know how to check patients in. On a day where we have 200 patients coming in just for shot clinic, the front desk is not going to be able to handle the volume of phone calls and the detail of obtaining all those details. So we're going to show the rest of you upstairs how to check people in on PCC as backup. Okay, it's not your main job, it's just to perform backup. Carrie has changed the way the phones roll through the system. So the operators, it looks for the first available person that's logged into the physician queue and the appointment queue, right? Downstairs, it looks for the first person logged into the check-in queue and then goes upstairs. Because the upstairs, it's not their primary job, right, to check people in. It'll look for the first person downstairs, and then it'll roll up to me if I'm logged into that queue. And I can check them in. Carrie can check them in, Megan's been doing it, we all need to chip in, because this winter, when we have flu, and we have strep, and we have RSV, and we have COVID, it's gonna
And flu
be-
shots.
And flu shots. On top of every other possible scenario you can think of, it's gonna be crazy. So we need to be able to back each other up, to help each other out, and to get through this. We can, it's gonna be painful, but we can do it. We've been through worse before.
So when you're logged into the appointment queue, you're gonna get check-in phone calls if they're covered. So be prepared to take that when you answer every phone call, because you don't know what's coming, right? So don't be shocked that you have a check-in phone call.
Yeah, so, and we need to show,
I'm gonna send it back to their queue.
don't send
Yeah,
it back
don't
to the
send it
queue. Do
back.
not do that, because I will beat you. Did you get that on the video that I will be coming up? Got to delete that part.
Yeah, we got it.
I still need to show you.
Courtney showed me, but you can show me.
Yeah, I'll show you again, just to make sure, because it's a little different than what we're used to doing. And it's basically verifying addresses, emails, insurance, collecting any outstanding balances, and a copay if there's a need to collect a copay for a sick visit. And I will show all of you that.
You said we're collecting outstanding balances?
Oh, yeah. I'll show you. It's easy.
And there's a
If I-
form for a card, that you fill out the
Yeah,
card,
if I-
and you give it
if
to
I-
billing to run the card.
Yeah, I have those forms.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, if I can do it, you can do it, Rachel.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's so easy.
I just didn't know.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Okay.
It's all on that screen, all on the very same screen, and I'll show it to you. I haven't shown you yet.
Okay.
When you schedule an appointment, whether you're upstairs, downstairs, wherever, ask if we can put dad and mom and siblings in for their flu shot. It's so much easier to do it on the front end than it is when they get back to Dr. Ellis's area. He had Mr. Dearman today came in, and I was able to add his account, get him on the schedule, and he goes, that's amazing to be able to do that. And if you don't get
Carrie,
it on
close
the,
that door.
if you don't get it on the front end, it's very cumbersome to catch it on the back end. Schedule flu shot for everybody. Everybody and their mother needs a flu shot from 6 months to
No Medicare.
no Medicare. Grandma and grandpa, if they're in their 50s, will be glad to do it. Did you just knock me down? If their grandparents, if the grandparents are younger, we'll be glad to provide it to them, provided they don't have to have a referral from their primary care provider. The big policy that requires that, I know, is the BEG prefix, and there's one other one. What is that one? Does anybody remember? Anyway, just say, you know, make sure your insurance lets you have it done.
Is there a cutoff age? Because last year it was like 64.
54?
Last year it was 64.
64.
So.
Yeah, because once you hit 65, you're on Medicare. So if they're on disability and that, you know, you need to kind of ask those questions.
It's really not an age thing, it's a Medicare thing.
Yeah,
So-
it's not an age limit, it's an insurance issue more than anything, okay? So Friday, we got our flu block, which is the vaccine that's for people that are 18 and over. It's kind of a more powerful
Has more
vaccine.
antigens, so.
More
it's
antigens, it
Yeah.
covers, I don't know
The
how
same
to.
strains, it's just more antigens, basically like a power boost, and it's only approved for 18 and over.
So, if anyone asks, we have pre-filled syringes, they're not multi-dose vials, they don't have thimerosal, which is the preservative that a lot of people get wigged out about. They're all pre-filled syringes, no preservatives. So we have the dose from 16 to 17 years, 364 days, to 18 and up to 64, only because of insurance. We could give it to a 70-year-old, but they're probably on Medicare. When you're in the phone rotation, don't pick up a call and put it on hold. If you can't answer it, don't pick it up. That just aggravates the
We've had some complaints.
snot out of people. I was gonna say something else. It's not out of people, don't do that.
Pick a PG word.
Yeah, we had some complaints, so.
Forms should only be sent through the portal. We're not using our HPA at HuntsvillePediatrics.com. They can fax them if they, it just, to me, they can send a picture on the portal and send them that way. Operators, most of you know this, Rachel, I'll get back to you. If you fill out a billing or insurance form when checking a patient in, make sure you give that to the billing office at lunch and before you leave for the day. We're gonna have to change our lunch times for operators and check-in based on the call volume that we're seeing, and it's listed here. MMR,
We didn't change it for operators,
huh?
we just changed it for check-in, right?
We did change.
We changed
We
one
did
for
change it for
operators,
operators,
yes.
too.
Some
Okay.
of them, not all of them.
Okay.
MMR, and it's on the schedule on the board. MMR, there's some this is what we talked about last Thursday, Dr. Ellis. There's some information out there. It's not a big approved seal of approval study, but there is some intelligence or some science out there that says that if you've received an MMR, the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, you may experience a less than severe case of COVID when you get it. It's not if, it's when you get it, right? So that might be why the littler kids aren't having such a bad time with it. Okay? We have MMR in this office that you may avail yourselves of if you have not had one in the past 5 years. Last year, several of us got our second dose because of that potential measles outbreak that we thought we were gonna have. I had mine, I think Carrie had hers, Megan and a couple others of us had it. The doctors did as well. So, if you haven't had one in the past 5 years, you may want to go ahead and put yourself on the shot schedule and get one. Not requiring that you do, but there is some possibility, I'm not saying it's a fail-safe, but there is some possibility that it may keep you from having a more severe case of COVID. We'll send it through your insurance company and take care of it after that, okay? Portal checkup messages that come in, operators, y'all need to handle those. Don't hold them to the primary and don't hold them to the triage nurse. Just schedule them. Unless, of course, it's somebody that says, I want 5 checkups, all on the same day with Dr. Ellis, because I know he'll do it. He's my neighbor, and he said he would.
My church.
Go to church with
And
him.
I
Go to
go,
church.
he
I'm
goes
gonna
to
go to
church.
Kevin's house and ask Kevin to
That's
So,
right.
yes. So, in those cases, hold them to Christy, and Christy can handle it. But if it's a portal message that says, I need a checkup, just schedule the checkup and send them a message. If you don't know how to do it, let me know, or Megan. It's easy peasy, and it's so much easier. Last but not least, smile. I know it's hard. I know that parents are stressed. Oh, I forgot something really important. Hang on.
Better write it down.
I know. It's in this, here, in this still trap right here.
There's your pink, there's your
It's hard right now. It's hard for me because things are changing so fast. I can't keep track of what all we're doing. the most important thing is for parents to feel like this is a safe, pleasant, happy place to be, even though it's, and the kids are sick and they're worried. So parents
Well, they
that
expect
have,
us to support them and like, we're
Yeah.
their like comfort here,
Yeah.
so we have to actually act like that.
act-
Even if we
Parents
don't
who
think
have-
we are, we have to act like that.
Parents who have sick children can be some of the,
Meanest people,
huh?
the meanest people.
The meanest, ugliest people on the planet, and it's because they're worried, right? So we need to be that, shoulder to lean on, that comforting place that smiles, even if it looks like a really scary smile. Hi, I'm here. But we need to do that. We need to do it in our voices because they can't see our faces. And, if they walk in the front door, you need to acknowledge their existence. Don't just keep working on your computer. You need to look up, make eye contact, and say, I'll be, you can't say I'll be with you in a minute, but just, like this, and do something so that they know that you
acknowledge them.
that they know that you know that they're there.
So there's studies now that everybody's wearing masks, you can't tell if I'm smiling or sticking my tongue out at you or anything.
Or dropping the F-bomb.
Or just under my breath or whatever. So you have to actually acknowledge at every level of the visit, you have to acknowledge, how are you? I mean, you have to, and for some people, it's just, I'm not gonna talk unless people talk to me. So you'll have to go out of your way. Hi, how can I help you? You'll have to be more talkative now that we are gonna have a semester of wearing masks.
Right.
Just to make small talk and to be inviting, type of thing.
Yeah, so if somebody walks in the front door, just go like this and let them see that,
You acknowledge them.
let them see that you see that they're there. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Have we talked to the
Yeah.
front desk about like one person being the paperwork person?
Yeah.
That way maybe they can be the greeter
The
too.
greeter, like the Walmart
Yeah.
greeter, so we talked about, this
Not
is
that.
some-
Not the Walmart greeter.
Not really that person, but so we put numbers at your desk, you may have noticed, because somebody that's wearing a mask, they're listening to you who are wearing a mask, and you're talking to them in a car while their wife is on a conference call, and they're trying to check in, and they're screaming 3-year-old, and you say, come see Melissa, Teresa, Marisa, or
Lisa.
Lisa. They don't know what the heck you said. So that's why we put numbers up in front of your computers. I hate to boil it down to numbers, but I think it will help the process. The other thing we would like to do downstairs is assign a paperwork person every day. So Lisa doesn't have 10 people, and I got stickers for the floors, by the way. And they'll go out, I guess, long ways, not towards the door. We'll have them out this way. Hopefully it will eliminate some of the issues. But even though we have those stanchions up there and you have the plexiglass, I think we've made every reasonable effort to keep people away from you. But, so I don't know how you guys want to do, have you guys talked about how you're gonna assign the paperwork person?
Thing about whoever the lady is.
Oh, that's a good idea. Whoever's the late night person can be the paperwork girl,
Yeah.
a person or staff member or whomever. So that's a good idea. to help everybody.
They'll still help check in if they're,
Oh, yeah, if you're caught up, of course, you still help people check in and all that, but I think it will help streamline things a little bit. And some of the changes we made last week with regard to not having absolutely everybody have to do every single form, and all that will help too. I've noticed that the time you guys are spending on your phone calls has decreased like a tenth. It was taking some of you upwards of 15 minutes to check people in, so, and it should. We can't, and that frustrates parents, and it frustrates you, and it's just,
and it shows on everybody, so it's just
yeah,
not.
it just, it's awful. So we're just gonna back up a minute, take care of this patient right now, and move on. Okay, we may change this in 6 months, but I doubt it. Back up again. Hello?
Is your clinic filling out that paper?
Huh?
Is your clinic filling out those papers?
No.
Nobody is anymore.
Terry Lewin asked me to ask while I was up here.
Terry Little can come talk to me,
The only
Or
paperwork they're doing is if the kid has turned 14
and they have to
do
sign a HIPAA
a
form.
HIPAA form. That's
And-
the only
and-
thing we're sending back there.
And we're sending them a non-covered services agreement
Through the portal.
statement through the portal the day before, so they know that if it's not covered, they're responsible for it. But that, most of that's going away, Jaden, so you can just tell her that.
Okay.
The other part of this is that there are a number of people that are being affected by the kids having to stay at home, right? So I know Melissa, Nicole, Tina, Teresa, Cindy. That's 5 people right there from this group of people that have to cut back their hours for at least 9 weeks. So, going back to us all sort of chipping in and helping each other out, that's one of the bigger reasons we need to be able to do that for each other, is because there will be people working from home, there will be people in the office, there will be people working at home that are trying to get their 7-year-old to sit there and pay attention to this computer screen, right? Yeah, Nicole. It's got triple, 3 of them, not just 1, 3.
Grace is one of them.
My son and daughter-in-law are losing their minds already. Today's the first day. They have 3 kids. One's 10, 2 are 7, and it's just crazy. My daughter, who has a kindergartner and a preschooler, is losing her mind today because it's a whole different world. You can't just say, here, lock them off at school. Now you've got to be responsible for all that. So those people that will not be able to come into the office, we're gonna have to pick up some of their work too, right? So you guys notice I'm logged on to the phones a lot of the day trying to help out. So everyone up in here needs to try to help out. And it's gonna get crazier and busier as we move into the fall. I don't know what's gonna happen the next 9 weeks. I have a gut feeling, but we'll tackle that bridge when we get to it. I just don't know what's gonna happen. Does anybody have any real specific questions or concerns right now? Get your MMR if you feel inclined to do so. Yes, ma'am.
If y'all mind if I arguing about this, I don't know. Are we still operators if they say they have fever, or is all that still going to the nurses?
No, if they have fever, just go ahead and put them on the schedule. You might wanna say, have you been, are you aware of any known exposure to COVID? And if there is, put fever exposure,
Okay.
you know, something like that. Does that make sense, Megan?
And that helps out a lot down there from me being down there, because you can log in and
That
have
makes
a rash.
I thought they were
And they're
triaging
like, just
also.
kidding, I was supposed to have, I had the COVID, like, it helps out that. It really does.
That's
Why are they treating?
That's
Oh,
what
they
we
are,
were trying to do.
back it up, I'm sorry. Fever and they think it's their ears is one thing. Fever and they think it's COVID, it needs to go to the nurse. Fever and respiratory issues and they have no clue, it needs to go to the nurse, I'm sorry. Yeah. You should have yelled at me, Megan. Yeah, I mean, if they're prone to ear infections and all that, and they're pretty sure, and there's no known exposure, okay?
If there's a note in there from the triage nurse overnight that says, call in the morning, make an appointment with a fever, can we just put it on?
Yes.
Okay.
That doesn't need to go back to a triage nurse, that's ineffective, that's inefficient. Just put them on. You guys know we're doing COVID testing here in the office, and it's for people that have symptoms and have a known exposure, 72 hours of symptoms, okay? Any screenings, y'all operators don't argue with the parents, let the nurses handle that. Create screenings to go back to college or go back to dance or go to football, let the nurses handle that. Those are typically not covered under insurance, so they have to figure that out. Yes,
How long
ma'am.
does it take for the results to come back?
Here in the office, between 5 and 13 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like immediate. Now, we've done how many tests here in the office, Megan? Maybe 200?
Not even.
Not even 200 here in the
Did
office.
we get more tests?
Huh? Yeah,
Not
we're
yet.
on like a regular weekly delivery, so we've had not even 200 tests and 4 positives in the office.
And as an HPA employee, if you find yourself sick, as a courtesy,